So, probably actually double check my audio settings are actually half decent and sorted. It would be a stellar idea to do that. There we go. Turn them down a little bit just so we're not getting drowned out by the noise of the cars. They are very loud, these V6s. I think we are getting ourselves ready and racing though, so if you are joining us post-race, be sure to skip to the intro, which actually is about to be now, to be fair. But if you are watching post-race, not post-race, watching now, definitely come say hello. Don't get your cups of tea. I've got two. My sister made me one, then my mum come and made me one, unaware that my sister made me one, so I've got two. Definitely not complaining. No complaints on my part at all. Still got the same cold, so if I mute my mic at any point, just know I'm probably dying. Jesus Christ, even racing today, I was karting and I just absolutely couldn't breathe. Still got the fast lap though. So hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the APPF1 Sprint Championship round 3 today, but with a twist. Short qualifying followed by a single 25% race mixes things up with a somewhat super sprint. The extended qualifying means we really see the absolute best times our drivers can produce, though the single race is going to mean all drivers need to maximise every opportunity because there's no reliance on a higher race 2 grid slot. Of course, the lower down you finish in race 1, the higher up you finish in race 2. That's not going to be applying today. Portimao is the venue for our racing tonight, the roller coaster of motor racing. Portugal has had some of the most sudden elevation changes on the calendar, coupled with overtaking opportunities down to turns 1, 5 and 10. It's going to be a stellar piece of action for sure. I'm your commentator then, Zach Sweeney, bringing you all the action today before afterwards jumping straight in to the real life Mexican Grand Prix. Round 3 starts now, perfectly timed, and of course, hopefully, we're not going to get affected by any weather. Fingers crossed. It is clear skies for the time being. So, I think 14 drivers on the grid tonight. Not the best, not the worst. Could definitely have had a worse turnout. But we've got AP on the grid. That is always good. We've got Ghost, our main sort of championship protagonists, if you will. Oh, Koru saying easy win. This is bold from Koru. We got TTV Max though in the Ferrari heading out for his first run in the sprint. TTV Max, of course, a very quick youngster, very aggressive when it comes to his defending as well. And at the moment, if I can just bring them up, I will update you on how the standings stay at the moment. So the Sprint Championship, Mitch leads, followed by James McCrow and MX in P3, though Mitch nor James are racing today. So MX, if he can score some points, is going to take the lead of the championship, probably, with Jackalacco, Ghost and AP the top 6. Sumo, Tier, Davler and Rick round off the top 10. And the man we're on board with right now, TDV Max, down in P13 with 17 points to his name. He's going to try and increase that total today through the kink of turn 9, and this is a very nice little section. I'm not quite sure if it's a double right-hander or if it just counts as one. I always count it as just turn 10. Good overtaking opportunity through 11 into 12. It's such an undulating circuit, very difficult to actually get the car to set up right because the constant undulation means there's different amounts of airflow under the car at different points. As you dip down, the car goes light. As you dip up, it gets a little bit heavier. So it really is disturbing. As you go through here, you crest upwards, the car has loads of grip, then you crest downwards, it's got absolutely none whatsoever, and then it sort of plateaus down the pit straight. TTV Max weaving around, going very close to the wall there. I think he might see he's got some stream time perhaps, and as he comes into turn 1, 5th gear, short shift straight to 6th, through turn 1 into 2, brake as soon as you're in a straight line for turn 3, down to 2nd gear, hit the inside apex, hug it like your favourite grandma. Open up the corner a little bit, turn 4, a fantastic corner. Got to be very progressive with the throttle as to not light up the rears as you go up and over. Down the hill towards turn number 5, then braking at the 100 board in a straight line down to 2nd gear, short shift to 3rd on the exit. Use the track a little bit on the exit, not too much because that curb will spit you out a little bit through turn 6 into 7. Just a quick right hand kink before you slam on the anchors for turn 8. A very easy corner to make a mistake on as well. TDV Max though, unfortunately, invalidating his first run. We'll go on board with Corey, seeing as though he is so confident with his pace today. And we'll see what he can do. Sumo cheering on Jackalacco. Sumo unfortunately having to watch from the sidelines today. But this is Corey then, the most recent race winner in the Sprint Championship, in towards turn 1, 5th gear. Got to be committed on the throttle. And, well, that's typical Corey things, isn't it? Braking a little bit too late for... Oh, no. just getting on the throttle a little bit too early through turn 1. So are we going to get a clean lap in from anyone? Would be nice if we could. We'll go on board with the reigning champion of Ghost in towards turn number 5. Purple to the first sector, of course. Opening up the steering. 3-6, pretty much flat out, not really a corner if any. Just a quick jolt to the right for 7. Slam on the anchors down to 3rd gear for 8. Got to be very careful. There's the amount of steering input you put in too much and you spin too little and you don't actually make the corner. Through turn 9 then as you crest up the hill. And then it levels out. You slam on the brakes as soon as you get over the top for turn 10. 4th gear, 3rd gear, either one works. Nice wide entry cut in. MX goes quickest at 32.355. That's not a good time whatsoever. Probably better times found in the wet. Through turn 12 then for Ghost in towards 13. The trickiest corner on the track for myself. Can never get a good run out because it really tightens up as you go in, then opens out as you come out. So it's hard to judge how quickly you can put the throttle down. Kington goes quickest at 18.255. Goes surely going to come across the line and try and smash that across the board. And they won at 17.076 for the reigning champion, who puts himself on provisional pole. Jackalacco, the man currently P5 in the championship, P4 in the championship, at 17.620 goes the Alpine. RJ Blair, though, in the Haas, quickly across the line, 17.409. Very close then from drivers that you wouldn't usually expect to be up there, but Blair is absolutely rapid. Find myself having a tough time getting through when we do our little 5-lap races. Rick, an 18.191, just going ahead of Kington, as Max, an 18.442, finally setting a lap time in the Ferrari on his soft compound tyres. This is Hephaestus back after quite a long break in the Alpine, filling in for Aces, I believe. He unfortunately again can't make it. A lot of drivers unable to make it today, which is a shame, but always good to have as many as we can. Hephaestus then goes P9, just ahead of Davalot on the mediums. Both on the mediums, both very close, just over a tenth separate in the 2 tier across the line. This is Corey on his second attempt. Let's see if he can make this one a little bit better. Through turns 13 into 14, the final corner. Using up already all of his ERS deployment. That is the thing. Hot lap around here doesn't last the whole lap. P6 for Corey, an 18.150 for the Brit in the Red Bull. AP, for someone who wasn't meant to be racing today, P5 for your first run, not bad at all, and not too far off the second row of the grid. AP going to try and chase after his maiden championship in the sprint series. Has finished runner-up for the past 3 seasons, third, and third, which not what he wants to be doing, but it's still there and shows the consistency. He's always been a contender, always up there for sure. Kington on another lap as well. Thank you everyone for joining us for today's race. It's always, as I say, a pleasure to have you in the stream and supporting on your favourite drivers, whoever that might be. And do not be shy to let me know your thoughts on anything as the event, the round progresses forward. Kington, purple to the middle sector, just ran a little bit too wide through turn 10. Probably got distracted a little bit, opened the steering up a bit too early. So, oh, I'm purple. And boom! Thank you, One Wing. It was a good race, a tough race at that, but I managed to pull through. At this very circuit, it was a little bit less dry this time around when I managed to hang on for the victory. And if you haven't, definitely go check out One Wing's stream of that. Not because I won the race, partially, but because it was great comms, and we always do appreciate it. Never easy stepping into the commentary booth for the first time in quite a while. One Wing did a great job. Never is easy, and I always have respect for any commentator for stepping in and putting themselves out there, because you're always up to judgment. People are probably gonna, there's gonna be someone that doesn't like you. There's gonna be someone who there's gonna be people that praise you. There's gonna be people that don't, and you're always up for that. Just putting your name out there, putting your thing out there. But yeah, commentators always try their best. Some don't. Some are a bit questionable. But just for them to be sat there, giving up their time watching a race as opposed to driving it, definitely is something to be appreciated. 10 minutes and 21 seconds left to go in the session, and there's only a few drivers out on track as it stands. A couple of drivers coming in, just waiting a while for some rubber to get spun now, and that's Wumax making it very apparent that turn 8 is a very easy corner to spin out on. In fact, he's actually spun and gone behind the corner, as opposed to just spinning out and carrying on straight. So yeah, that's how easy it is. That's the sudden elevation change. I think turn 8 probably one of the steepest gradients, or yeah, one of the steepest gradients in terms of quick elevation. It just goes up, and you're turning as well. So as the car goes up and you're still turning, you've got grip. You've got grip. As the elevation changes, the airflow under the car changes, and the balance changes, and kapoo, and you spun round. So you've got to really monitor how much steering angle you're putting into the car. And really got to be mindful both of the brakes and the throttle, because all three factors of controlling a car, steering, braking and throttle, all are able to very easily spin you out if you're not careful. This is Womax then starting his first flying lap on the medium compound tyre. On a great run of form is Womax in that Red Bull. Absolutely flying in towards turn number 1 as you dip down after the plateau, down to 6th gear, going a little bit wide using the track, and then through turn 2 into 3, down to 3rd, 2nd gear. Kiss the apex, run it out, bring it back to the right, not all the way to the right, just fling it in for turn number 4. Then you get the drag reduction system, the DRS, the little rear wing flap that opens to give you an extra 20 kph or so. Purple to the first sector for Womax. Whether that's accurate or not, we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, Womax incredibly quick, great qualifier, great racer as well. Knows how to harvest his ERS, knows when and when not to go for a move. Really intelligent driver. And yeah, good stuff so far. In towards turn number 10 then. Down to 3rd gear. Missing the apex a little bit for Womax. Not the best run he could have asked for, but still managed to keep up that minimum speed. That's the most important thing. Distance probably is probably the second most important thing about a racing line. It's all about keeping that minimum speed up as well as minimizing the distance, and it's about getting that balance of speed versus distance, because the shortest distance is sticking it to the right hand side and just cruising around the corner. That's going to be the shortest distance possible, but that minimizes your minimum speed, does not at all allow you to get the most out of the car. Ghost starting or finishing his second run across the line. Has he improved? Indeed he has. A 16.689, nearly 4/10 quicker than his previous best lap time in the Aston Martin. Incredible time then to go a little bit quicker. Jackalacco also goes into P2 with a 17.124. MX going wide and is currently P3. RJ Blair unable to improve, stays at P4 with a 17.4. Davler pitching just ahead of his teammate. It's an all McLaren third row at the moment, 5 and 6 for the two. Both of them though, very close on pace as they always are. Both of them are going to be trying to push for something even better. Corey then 3/10 up on his previous best as he goes through sector 2 through the final corner then of turn number 14. Where is he going to see himself in terms of track position? Is he going to improve his position across the line? It's P5, respectable effort, a 17.587 for the Red Bull driver, and puts himself now on to the third row of the grid. Ghost though seems to be taking a dominant pole. I'll be surprised if Ghost doesn't get pole. Jackalacco giving him a good run for his money, so too is MX. It's incredibly close, but Ghost somehow is pulling through. He's always been quick at Portimao. You look back to his recent performances and just look at Ghost at Portimao in general. Look at Ghost in general around any track and you see why he's on pole position at the moment. The highest rated in terms of composure, the highest rated overall driver I think there is in APPF1, alongside Vardy of course. He's very quick. There's a reason he's a 2-time sprint champion and a runner-up in the Tier 1 after missing out on points in 2 rounds. As they all funnel their way into the pit lane single file. There is a lot of cars in the pit lane all at one point. Tier, that is not particularly where you want to be placing your car, though he's just moving out of people's way. This is Rick across the line, the young Dutchman, the flying Dutchman over the crest. DRS open, the short burst of the line is P4 for Rick. Makes it an all Alfa Romeo second row, 3 and 4 for the two. A 17.288 for MX, a 17.371 for Rick. Great stuff from the young Dutchman in the Alfa Romeo, once again proving why he is very quick indeed, and maybe not as consistent. He's probably going to make a very strange noise that I won't share. I might share. We'll see how he does. He's moving around left to right. He probably sees he's on stream, bless him. If he is watching, light up the rears, give us a little drift. We know you want to. Let's see the drift. If he is watching, he's probably not. Let's see if he spins at turn 8 on his outlap. Nah, he's not. Out of order. Just cooling down his tyres. Well, I say cooling down. Going to left to right is not going to cool down the tyres one bit. Tier a little bit too wide through turn 7. Just getting a little bit too eager and then with that was a bit of a moment. Lifebout, one of the newer guys. I think he made his debut last time out at Silverstone in China, looking to make amends for a double DNF, and is going to try his best in order to do so, though spinning at turn 8 not going to be the best way in order to do that. Takes a trip over the grass. I did that today. It wasn't fun. Somehow didn't spin. Was put there. Arguably my fault, arguably not my fault. I mean, I was alongside, he just didn't see me. And then put onto the grass. Very bumpy, very scary. Because I was flat out. But hey, didn't spin. Managed to go and set the fastest time in that session as well. So I'll take it. I will take it. Wimax on his outlap. He currently has not yet set a time, and he's running out of time in order to do it. Good luck, guys. Richard for the W. Got Scott cheering on Richard then. And Wimax invalidating his outlap. Luckily it's only his outlap and not his real thing. Jackalacco in the Alpine then, flying the flag high for the Frenchies. Though Ghost doing it for the Brits once again, showing why the Brits are at the top of their game in pretty much almost every field there is. That's not the patriotism in me screaming out, I do promise. Excuse me. Davila also on his outlap. These are crucial times for the drivers then to get these times in. Lifebout once again invalidating and getting a sideways moment out of turn number 8. This is Wimax then setting up for his first flying lap of this session, his first proper one onto the grass. Not the best way to go about things. That's going to limit his speed. Still 200 miles an hour as he slams on the anchors. Not for very long for turn 1 though, as you're quickly back onto the throttle, down a couple of gears, flat through turn 2. Second gear for turn 3. Open up the corner a little bit for 4. Be progressive on the throttle. Don't want to light up the rears too much. Very, very satisfying corner to get right. And you dip down a little bit for turn number 5. Down to second gear. Aim yourself nicely at the apex. This run towards turn 6 and 7 is quite important. It's quite a long bit of track that you're flat out for. So the exit always going to be important. Down to 6th, maybe 5th gear for Wimax in fact. Gets a stop for turn 8. Bit hesitant it seems. Not really getting the right flow that he would have particularly wanted through there. Through 9. Once again over the crest. Take a shot every time I say over the crest today, because it's going to happen a lot. There's a lot of crests to go over here at Portimao. And I know Ghost is going to make a point of it when he watches the stream back. He's going to say the amount of times Zach mentioned the undulation. It's a nice word to use, it fits, because it is Portimao. And we've got Jackalacco on his final flying run. Then what can he do in terms of qualifying? He's backed off this run in fact, so he's going for 2 installation laps. MX also out there on a flying run. Not long left to go in this session then, only a few minutes left, and we'll see the exact time. 1 minute and 30, so it will be approaching the final lap times. MX goes purple to the middle sector though. He's around about 74 thousandths of a second down on his previous best time. He's going to need a stellar sector 3 or follow this on by doing another lap if he wants to improve. Jackalacco setting up for his final run as well. What can MX do as he goes through the final turn of turn 14? Flat to the floor. DRS opens soon for the final dash to the line, across line. Only a marginal improvement, stays third place. Going to have to go again if he wants to improve his position. Ghost also setting up for his final run towards pole position. Jackalacco is going to need a stellar effort in this dying stages of qualifying. He's going to need an absolute worldie of a lap to deny Ghost of pole position. DRS open down this back straight towards turn number 5. Is a little bit up on his time. Purple to the first sector also. Second gear for turn number 5. Roll it through. Use the track on the exit. Get that power down. And he's done a great job of that. So far so good for the Alpine. It looks tidy. It looks fast. Can it be pole position though, as Ghost has been disqualified from the session for driving the wrong way? What has happened there? How has that happened? He's distracted someone. Someone's gone off the road. It's all been a kerfuffle. So Ghost disqualified. He's going to start at the back of the grid. Jackalacco then is on course for provisional pole. He's invalidated his time, so luckily, is MX going to improve? No, he's invalidated his time. So too is Rick. RJ Blair is on a lap though. He's only going to need 3/10 and is on course to do so. Could Blair go from 5th to pole because of Ghost disqualification? Hephaestus and Lifeboat 11th and 13th. Checkered flag is out. Can anyone steal pole from Jackalacco, who has bottled his final flying run by invalidating it? RJ Blair just needs a really good run through turn 14 to solidify his position. It's definitely going to be the front row at the very least. Shortest run to the line. Is RJ Blair going to get himself on pole position across the line? It's only 4th, but what a tight and close qualifying session that was. Davler goes into 3rd on his final run. Can AP improve as he goes across the line? Is it pole? Is it the front row? DRS open, and it's P7. Unfortunately, can only improve a marginal amount. Corey as well on a slowdown lap. Kingston, can he improve his position and go into P8, just ahead of his teammate Max, who at the moment is in P9. 4/10 quicker to the middle sector for Kington. But yeah, Ghost going to be trying to cut his way through the field. Going to give us some action. Apologies for my current state. Not the best. Still good enough to bring you the action though. As Kingston across the line, is it an improvement? It's P8, respectable. Knocks his teammate down to P9 and Tier down to P10. Hephaestus P11, Wemax P12, unable to really get a representative time down in qualifying. But Jackalacco then takes pole position here in Portimao, a 1:17.124. Just look at how close 2nd, 3rd and 4th are. Ridiculous. Exactly half a tenth cover the the 1st and 2nd row. That is remarkable stuff. Very close. And we'll have to see how the rest of the race pans out. That's qualifying done and dusted. We've now got a single 25% race. And that is qualifying drawn to a close. Jackalacco, as I say, takes pole position in the Alpine. The Scotsman, I believe that might be his first pole position. A 1:17.124. MX, the reigning Tier 1 champion for Alfa Romeo in P2. Only a 10th off provisional pole. Davler in P3 with RJ Blair rounding off the top 4. Rick in P5. Good result for the Dutchman. Not far off, and marginal gains could have seen him up onto the front row. Corey P6. Decent qualifying for him with AP P7. Kington in P8 with Max in P9. Tier rounds off the top 10 with Hephaestus the first of those with free tyre choice in this race. Rumax P12. Lifeboat P13. And Ghost from pole to last after disqualification. He's going to be starting the Portuguese Grand Prix from 14th place on the grid. It's going to be an absolute spectacle to watch because the front is very close and contested. We've also got Ghost coming through the field. I certainly cannot wait for the next 17 laps of action. So we're just waiting for the final adjustments to strategy, fuel load and setup, of course, as soon as the car leaves the garage for qualifying. They are under the part failure conditions. They can only change slight temperatures in the or the tyre pressures and slight front wing angle. They can't change anything else in terms of the setup, which is why it's ever important in order to get it right. 17 laps ahead of us then, 18 including the formation. This is the installation lap for those that don't know. Pretty much get the tyres warmed up, weave around left to right, get them into a nice operating window. For the soft compound tyres, shouldn't be too difficult of an affair. This Ghost been watching. That's true. He's probably taken, you know, no, he didn't go out on inters in quali, so he's not copied me. I can't sue him for it because he didn't go on inters. But he did disqualify himself, so He probably is. I'll take it as a compliment that someone with such a high achievement rate of Ghost is learning from me. I say learning, it's starting at the back of the grid, not the best way to win a race, or to start your journey to winning a race by any means, but hey, he's 14th on the grid, he's quick, he's going to try and cut his way through, and he's got Lifeboat, who isn't even in the session at the moment, to blast his way through, and the long run down towards turn 1 is definitely going to give him an opportunity to pick up a couple of places. So through turn 12, Jackalacco definitely going to be feeling the pressure now. He's going to be piling onto him, and MX is probably not the best driver to have in your rearview mirrors, because he wants this win. He's going to chase his first victory of the season, and is well, he's a driver that isn't going to back down very easily. He's a driver that's going to give absolutely everything to win a position. Davler also wants to chase after his first win of the season. RJ Blair going to try and chase for his first win ever. Rick P5 as well, the Dutchman going to get himself onto the podium, hopefully for his sake. Jackalacco then through the final corner and now lining himself up on the grid. Ahead of 17 laps of the Portuguese Grand Prix. With only 14 on the grid, quality over quantity. Waiting for the final drivers at the back of the grid to line up. Wumax and Ghost now taking their grid slots. Tyres are warmed up. Drivers are ready. They've had the qualifying. They've done the lap. They've done half of the job to set themselves up to contest for the race victory today, but that's not what matters. What matters is who's on top come the checker flag. 5 red lights are on for round number 3 of the Sprint Championship. Only one race and we're underway. MX gets a very good start from second place on the grid already alongside the Alpine as they come in towards turn 1. Davila manages to hold station. MX though is ahead in towards turn 1. Davila having a look on Jackalacco, who falls down into P2. There's a spinner. I think that's Corey going round. Ghost already up into P10. 4 places up on the first lap alone. MX leads from Jackalacco, Davila, Blair and Palps, your top 5. As Tier managing to get up into P6, he's side by side with Kington, managed to go around the outside of him in towards turn number 4. Tier on the back of Palps, and that's her face is looking to go around the outside of the Ferrari. There's contact as Matt goes into the back of him, and Ghost trying to get the drive off the corner, does so up into P9. A stellar first lap from the Aston Martin, who's chasing after the race victory today. Now going to go up the inside of the Alpine, or at least try. Max coming back at him around the outside of turn number 8. Incredible stuff from the youngster, now running side by side with the 2-time champion through turn 9. Ghost around the outside, quickly turns to the inside of turn 10. Max still giving him a fight around the outside. They are still side by side. A big crash for Tier, who bounces himself off the wall. That is huge on this first lap, and a virtual safety car, very fairly so, in effect, as Palps is running side by side with Blair. Probably a bit of dispute as to who deserves that position as the yellow flags were called. I think Blair has given him the position up, perhaps. Just to let them go, or something is happening. They have to now adhere to a 40% race speed delta, pretty much half race pace, just to maintain the gaps while the marshals clear it up. The debris, though, Blair taking a big risk. He's going to go mediums to the end. Of course, you lose a lot less time pitting now compared to under green flags, because everyone's going slow. So you're not losing as much time relative to them. You still spend the same amount of time in the pit lane, but the time lost relative to everyone else is a massive reduction. Round about, I believe it goes from about 22 seconds to around about 14-15 seconds lost. So you're gaining yourself a free 7 seconds for absolutely nothing. So Blair, Cora and her faces all on to the hards to the end of this race. Mediums probably would have gotten there, to be fair, but probably better not to take that risk. Waiting still for the track to go green. MX will lead us. Jackalacco second. It's a McLaren 3-4 as Palps did get himself ahead of RJ Blair, who peeled his way into the pit lane. Back on the green flag racing then, on to lap 2 of 17. Rick not waiting around at all. He went backwards off the start, probably had to back himself out, and oh no, through turn 9 using the ERS. That becomes our second retirement of the day. And Rick, a big shunt using ERS through turn 9, not the best way to go about things, and he is now out of the Portuguese Grand Prix. Soon on to lap 3, that's when DRS will be enabled. Jackalacco hunting down MX. It's like a bull chasing red, both equal in terms of their ERS deployment. Davila going to join this fight as well. On to lap 3. The DRS, the drag reduction system, soon to be enabled. MX weaving around, trying to break the slipstream. Jackalaco closing at a rate of knots. Ghost goes quickest to 22.312. Jacko using a bit of ERS in order to close the gap. Davler just saying, you guys waste your ERS. You guys do that. It'll be absolutely fine. I'm going to save up my battery, and when you tire yourselves out, I'm going to come and blitz my way through. Thank you very much. DRS enabled for Jackalaco, the Alpine. Is he going to close the gap and try and get the move done on MX? No. He's going to wait. He's going to bide his time. Close the gap under braking. Trying to mount that pressure. Pilot on. Lap after lap after lap. That's what he's been doing since the start of the race after a not so good start. But someone on the flip side of that, an incredible start for Ghost, up 8 places already from 14th on the grid up to 6th and chasing down P5, and he's got powers for P4 in his sights. On an absolute mission is Ghost to the front of the grid after a pretty much guaranteed pole position. And now falls and is now up to P6 already on lap 3 of 17. Not even halfway, not even a quarter of the way through, not even actually a fifth of the way through this race. He's already up into P6, though his job is only going to get harder from here as the gaps spread out. One gap that isn't spread out though, MX versus Jackalaco versus Davler, the top 3 fight for the race victory. Through turn 14, DRS will be enabled for the Alpine, who's using his ERS, his energy recovery system already down this back pit straight. Jackalaco goes quickest with a 19.620. He's closing a rate of knots to MX. He goes to the left hand side. He tries to defend as MX, but Jackalaco comes through, says, you defend, I'm going this way round. I've got the overspeed, and through I go into the race lead once again. The pole sitter making up for that poor start. And it's down to now MX to try and pile that pressure back on, not let him get away. But Jackalaco already pulling a good 8 tenths on him. Kington on the back of Paus as well. Ferrari versus McLaren, reminiscent of real life. Reminiscent of real life, but this time they've got Ghost for company in the Aston Martin, fighting for P4. Davler only 1.6. So we could, if they start battling, definitely could see a 6-way fight for the race victory. That would be something to behold, wouldn't it? MX keeping Jackalaco honest as Corey gets himself past Blair, who's gone for a bit of a spin through turn 4. Yellow flags are out, and he stays P11 for the time being. Doesn't lose any further positions. Sparks being kicked up from Paus, who's definitely riding a very low pitch angle on that car to be kicking up those sparks that are scraping against the floor here at Portugal. Back to the front because MX going to use his ERS. That extra 160 brake horsepower down this pit straight to try and bridge the gap. Jackalaco once again goes quickest, 19.305. Davler using a little bit of ERS in order to close the gap. This is Ghost trying to close on Kington, who's trying to close on Paus in towards turn 1. Not quite close enough in order to go for it on this particular occasion. Paus hangs on. And P4 for the man who wasn't even supposed to be racing, it was an uncertainty, is definitely going to be a welcomed result for sure. The Ghost is going to want to try and clear this his way through. Corey, a 3-second time penalty, becomes the first man to do so in this race. MX trying to go for the move on Jackalaco, didn't quite see that, nearly ran into the back of him through turn 5. Corey giving up with this race, I believe, so far, as RJ Blair gets past Lifebout's AI for P10. The dip down through turn 9, not much happening at the front because it's just sort of stagnated. Davler can't close the gap to MX, and MX can't close the gap to Jackalaco enough for any of them to make a move. So we'll keep our eyes down into this other trio. Jackalaco, MX, Davler on there doing their own thing. Paus, Kington, Ghost also doing theirs. Though there is closing is the gap. As soon as AP is in the DRS of his teammate, it will become a 6-car train for the race lead. Jackalaco dealing with this pressure well, chasing after his first victory of the season. MX chasing after his. DRS open. No, it's not quite enough for MX to close the gap. Davler also is looking eager. Both McLaren seem slippery in a straight line. Kington looks to go for the move on Paus, so if they work together they can get after the fight for the race lead. That's what they want to do. We max into P7 as Max comes in to the pit lane. Lap 6 of 17 then, almost halfway through. DRS open for Davler once more. Kington is probably going to try and go for the move on Paus, who sort of looks in his mirrors, goes semi-defensive. I think Kington and Ghost both realise that the more they fight, the more time they're going to lose to the front 3. And if they just work together, they just say, okay, let's have a truce for a moment. Let's just work together for the time being. We can close up, and then once we're sort of sustained in that fight at the front, we're clearly into the DRS range, then we can start fighting for position, because I'm sure Kington wants to lead the charge but hasn't quite been able to do so. Pretty dominant in terms of the ERS performance for Davila. Usually you often see him waste his ERS quite a lot, though he's at the moment stuck on 90%, really charging up his batteries compared to Jackalacco and MX. Ghost 91, similar story to Davila. That's to be expected with Ghost though. We know how much he likes to save his ERS. Probably eyeing up a move on Kington down in towards turn 1 as well. That's Davila peeling into the pit lane along with Ghost, both of them then being proactive. Davila, a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Kington closing at a rate of knots on Pavs, going to go to the right hand side, has a little look, can't quite break late enough for turn 1 in order to go for the move. But Davila and Ghost both pulling the plug early. They're coming in, they're being proactive, they're going for that undercut, they're going for a lap on quicker tyres. So they've never had a more important out lap, and for these guys still out, the 4 at the front still out, probably the most important in lap they've ever had in order to maintain their position compared to Davila and Ghost. Though remember, Davila has got a 5-second time penalty, which is going to be added on to his race at the end, provided he doesn't make another stop. MX on the back of Jackalacco through turn 9, or turn 11 into 12, soon to be 13. MX and Jackalacco probably both going to have to peel their way into the pit lane, because I believe Ghost has had a relatively good outlap compared to Davila. Yeah, he's getting a good couple of tenths on the Welshman. Is Jackalacco in then? Yes, he is. Can he brake and get it stopped? Perfect. MX doesn't rear-end him. Palf's also in from P3. Kington follows him in. It's a very busy pit lane then. Jackalacco, MX, Palf's, Kington all in. Where's Davila? Now coming through turn 12 into 13. It's a relatively short pit lane here at Portimao. All of the drivers then going on to the medium compound tyre to the end. Jackalacco now leaves his pit box. It's going to be very close because Davila is closing at a rate of knots. They're now leaving the pit lane. Has the undercut worked for them? They're going to get past Palf's. Ghost also maybe just... No, the overcut has worked for them. Ghost has maybe lost time. He's actually, no, around the outside of both of them. Goes off the track. Just about manages to get himself ahead. But at the front, MX has jumped Jackalacco in the pit lane. Something has happened between those two. That saw MX get the jump over Jackalacco. Ghost has got himself ahead of both AP and Kington. It was a very close call though. Overcut versus undercut. Davila needs to use these warmed up mediums to full effect very soon, and hope that Jackalacco and MX fight their way in just a moment's time once they get to the pit straight, and just hope that MX puts up more of a fight than he did last time, but somehow has managed to jump Jackalacco in the pit lane. Kington's still trying to pile on the pressure to Paus, but a great drive from Ghost in order to get that in-lap sorted, and also that out-lap, probably more important. But back at the front, MX versus Jackalacco, the Alpha versus the Alpine. Lap 8 of 17, halfway through this Grand Prix. We've done the pit window. It's MX, Jackalacco, Davila, Ghost, Paus, Kington, your top 6. Those are the main protagonists for this race today. All of them have the pace, all of them have the potential, and it seems as though Jackalacco is going to try and use the slipstream, the DRS and his ERS to full effect in order to get himself ahead. No fight from MX at all, and Jackalacco back into the race lead after a lap out of it. Kington looking to go side by side with Palfs in towards turn 1. Palfs does not flinch, goes around the outside. Brilliant racing between the two. Great mutual respect, but the McLaren hangs on and is trying to chase after Ghost, and then subsequently his teammate is going to need the DRS on Ghost in order to do that. Womack's closing on a Blair. Goes to the right hand side, is ahead before the corner, says thank you very much. I'm on my way through because those softs are going to be quicker than those hards. Blair going to come back at him to the right hand side. Bit of lag, bit of contact maybe. Womack gives him the space. Blair comes up the inside, tries to go for the switcheroo. He's going to have the DRS, he's going to have the ERS, he's going to have the slipstream. He hasn't got the tyres. Can he go for the move down the inside of turn 5? Going to absolutely send it from a different postcode back now side by side with the Red Bull, who goes around the outside. The Alpine of Hephaestus now going to run side by side. We need to quickly avert our attention back to the front. But Womack at the moment stays in front. MX chasing down Jackalacco, looking to get himself back in front. Fingers crossed he can do so for his sake, to reignite the charge for the championship. Through turn 14 for the Alfa Romeo. Has he got the speed? Has he got the ERS? Has he got the overall pace in order to maintain this race victory? Jackalacco goes quickest, quickly beaten by Davila, a 19.2, then Ghost a 19.1. Ghost on a charge towards the front as the car leaves the pit lane. He goes quickest. 1.7 is the gap. MX all over the back of Jackalacco. in towards turn 3. Quickly turns to turn 4. Nose to tail are the top 3. Davila looking to eye up a move on MX, pulls out of the slipstream, goes purple to the first sector. The more they fight, the more they hold each other up, the more Ghost, the charging Aston Martin, is going to come after him. Kington still on the back of House, can't find a way through, it seems, for now. 7.5 laps left to go in this race, through turn 8 for the 10th time. Jackalacco leads, MX and Davila your top 3, that's how it's been pretty much this entire race. 2 DNFs of Rick and Tier, 13th and 14th. They retired very early on. Haven't had one since. MX trying to pile on the pressure. Saving that ERS. Waiting for the perfect opportunity to pounce. Ghost nearly sub 1 second on Davila. He needs to do it before the detection point. He's got one more corner in order to gain some time. Very close. It's going to be very marginal. 1.002. 9 tenths now is within the 1 second range, and this is now a 4-way fight for the race victory. Do not count Ghost out of it at all. MX in the DRS, in the slipstream, using his ERS, is now going to make a charge for the race victory. Ghost goes quickest, and he's going to look to the right hand side. Is MX not quite close enough to go for it? His back out has allowed Davila to close the gap, maybe looking to the right hand side. In towards turn 3, not quite going to come to fruition on this particular occasion. Ghost still within 1 second, now charging after the top 3 out in front. All 4 from different teams in towards turn 5. Bit of a tap from Davila on the back of MX, hopefully no damage sustained. Jackalacco is dealing with this pressure mightily well. The Tier 2 champion, unable to defend his title because of the rule that says Tier 1 drivers are unable to race in Tier 2, so he's had to do the one-time champion and dip, and now races in Tier 1. But proved his mettle in Tier 2, showed his pace, and is doing so against some of the best of the best. MX, Davila, Ghost and Paus are not easy opponents to beat. Davila goes in deep though, that's going to invite Ghost to go side by side with him, potentially in towards turn number 13. But Ghost had a little look, not enough to convert, but he's going to be close. Davila, a big lockup that could cost him his chance for a race victory. Has he got the DRS? That's going to be a saving grace if he's got it. Yes, he has, but Ghost is very close indeed in the slipstream, using his ERS, using the DRS. He's pulled out, but it's maybe a little bit too early. He's hardly got the overspeed. It's going to be a tough game in towards turn 1, down the inside, but backs out, and Davila maintains P3 for now. It's a very close fight, and remember, he's got that 5-second penalty to contend with. Kington still behind Paus as well. MX still behind Jackalacco. Not much happening, but Ghost needs to save some ERS. He's used up a lot in that fight with Davila. Short little skirmish, but just look at them. Half a second separating each car. Could be anyone's game for the remainder of this race. Just a shame we're not getting more side-by-side action. But the nail-bitingly close gaps, definitely something to watch out for. Thank you to the 6 people that are in the stream. Kington trying to mount a challenge on Paus in towards turn 10. Not quite going to be close enough to go for the move. He's going to try and set it up to the best of his ability. Paus doing a great job of defending. Bit of a lock up from Ghost as he tries to maximise the exit versus Davila. Get himself on the podium from the back of the grid. Shows his pace. MX going to try and launch an attack on Jackalacco. Certainly close enough. Certainly got the ERS to do so. Same story with Ghost, practically pushing Davila through the final corner. You can see the gap at 2 tenths. Now, through the pit straight. DRS open once more. Davila has not got it. This is going to make Ghost's job mighty easier. Tucks up in the slipstream, pulls out last minute. Side by side with Davila and towards turn 1. He's going to fight it around the outside. Davila does so, goes off the track in order to keep the position. Kington finally through on Paus to get himself inside the top 5. So a great skirmish between Ghost and Davila. Davila, though, a little bit too committed, was off the track. Is he going to have to concede that position? We'll never know. As he tries to maintain the fight with MX and Jackalacco, both of which are not going for moves themselves. Jacko is really contesting with this pressure mightily well. It's a valiant effort from the Alpine driver, and he should be very proud of himself if he does manage to hang on to this. Paus keeping Kington honest. They've lost 3 seconds to the top 4. Both are out of contention, I would say now. But Kington has got a penalty, so Paus pretty much got a free gain. Does not need to make any rash judgments in order to get that extra position, extra point as well. Could we see Ghost take the lead of the championship? As it stands, Jacko will lead the championship of the Sprint Series because of Mitch and James's absence. MX has lost a good second, though, to Jackalacco. Is he still within the DRS range? I think he is just about. Davila back in. So too is Ghost. On to lap 14 of 17. Only 4 laps left in this race. It's gone by mightily quickly. Incredibly quickly. Blitzed through this race. Only the one race tonight, unfortunately, because of the Mexican Grand Prix. Although we get Formula 1, so there was no complaints on my part. From APPF1 straight to Formula 1. I love the races in the Americas. DRS open for the Alfa Romeo. Trying to get onto the back of the Alpine, still unable to make a move stick or even go for a move. Same story with Ghost versus Davila. The DRS that Davila gets from MX is just causing Ghost to not have the overwhelming pace, as Kingston has spun through turn 5. Not quite sure how he's done that, but he's rejoined the track paths easily into P5 then. And Max unable to really close up to his teammate after that spin either. Ghost, I'm sure if he can get through on Davila, could go on to win this race. There's no doubt in my mind he could do that. A great early stop has put him in contention with these guys. Got him through on Palps and Kington. Got rid of that train and started chasing after the more important one of the top 3. Turned it into a top 4, the 4 horsemen fighting out for the race victory. Jacko leads from MX, Davila and Ghost. That's how it's been for the last few laps. Lap 15 of 17. 3 laps left in this Grand Prix. The gaps have sort of started to spread out, though, all still within DRS range. Any mistake could be bloody devastating for any of these guys. Could be their demise. A small mistake, we saw it from Davila earlier, crept in, nearly lost him the position to Ghost, nearly lost him the DRS to those in front, managed to hang on luckily for him. Through turn 5, Ghost trying to maximise the exit. Bit of a scram from Davila. Could that be the pressure starting to creep in? Maybe so. 2.5 laps left of the Portuguese Grand Prix. RJ Blair picks up a 3-second time penalty. Not much action happening further down, so all eyes at the front. Ghost trying his absolute best to get himself on the podium. It will be a podium as it stands because of Davila's penalty, but he's going to want more than that. He doesn't want P3. He knows he's got the pace to go on to win this race. Through 13 for Davila. Jacko looking in his mirrors for sure, but he's maintained his ERS well. He hasn't let the pressure get to him at all. He's only got 2 more laps in order to hang on. MX has only got 2 more laps to mount a challenge. Same with Davila, same with Ghost. They're running out of time. MX trying his best. Jacko using his ERS to his advantage. Ghost has lost a little bit of time to Davila, in fact, through the final corner. Maybe a bit of a mistake, but he's out of DRS range. Is this tyres maybe going off a cliff? Could be the case. Keeping his way back in. Davila now using that as motivation to close the gap to MX. But as it tightens up on the braking zone, it quickly opens up in the traction zone. But MX needs to give it his absolute all because he is running out of time. 1.5 laps left of the Portuguese Grand Prix. Ghost as well needs to get a move on. He saved up a bit of ERS. He needs to use it. Needs to dig deep. Needs to channel his 2-time championship winning mentality if he wants to go for this race victory. Same story to MX. He won the Tier 1 title. He knows how it is to win a championship. He knows how it is to win a race. I don't think he's ever had to fight as hard as this for it, though. Incredibly close. The DRS train keeping everyone in contention, but also stopping the wheel-to-wheel action because Davila can't close the gap to MX, and MX for some strange reason hasn't been able to close the gap to Jack Alacco. Or is it a strategical thought process that he's going to use all of his ERS now to close the gap while he can onto the final lap, his final last-ditch effort? 14 more corners left to go at the Portuguese Grand Prix. Jack Alacco leads, MX P2 and Davila P3. Ghost goes quickest. He's now turned it up a notch. He's found a 9th gear. He's in 8th, but he's got a 9th for sure. MX unable to go for the move on Jack Alacco into turn 1. He's running out of opportunities. You're now starting to count down the corners. Now 11 to go as they exit turn 3. Jacko looking in his mirrors. He needs to really deliver on this final lap. DRS open for MX. Down this back straight towards turn 5. Not quite close enough to launch an attack. Same story for Davila. MX trying his best. Look at them. Ghost really closing onto the back of Davila. But again, they're running out of opportunities. That was their main one gone. His next best one is probably going to be turn 10 in a few corners time. But it's going to be a difficult affair for MX if he wants to get himself ahead. Davila will lose the podium. Probably cost Ghost by defending or being there. He didn't really defend, but by being there, getting in his way, stopping him from progressing. Ghost very close to the back of Davila now. MX lost a little bit of ground to Jackalacco. Is Ghost going to go for the move in towards turn 12? No. Sits back. Davila goes in deep. Is Ghost going to look to the right-hand side? Not quite. Is Jackalacco going to hang on for his first victory of the season? He might well do it through the final corner. He's hung on absolutely brilliantly. MX, Davila and Ghost through absolutely everything at the Scotsman, who from pole to flag does not tell the whole story. He comes across the line. He wins the Portuguese Grand Prix. MX second. Ghost from the back of the grid to P3. A valiant effort. And P4 for Davila. 4 and 5 for the two McLarens. Kington a few seconds later will come home P6. And DTV Max, good result in P7. Blair, P8. Was a good race. That was a great race. It was just, we were suspended in that anticipation for a while. And it's just so difficult to overtake. That DRS train might look appeasing, but just very difficult. Yeah, Ghost is it's impossible to overtake, and he's the one that went from 14th to 3rd. Clearly made it possible, using the first lap to his advantage, but the Alpine, Jackalacco, should be absolutely over the moon with that one. It wasn't an easy win. He had to deal with a ton of pressure with the MX, Davila and Ghost, the three probably worst people you want in your mirrors, breathing down your neck for the entire race. But after 17 laps of the Portuguese Grand Prix, Jackalacco takes the win. Not with fastest lap though. Pole to flag does not tell the whole story. MX in P2 with Ghost running off the podium from back of the grid. He takes fastest lap for his troubles as well. Davila P4 with Paus for McLaren. 4 and 5 for the two guys in Papaya. 6 and 7 for Ferrari 2x2. And Kington and Max, a good result for those two. Wimax P8, definitely a couple of positions gained for him, and he's going to be happy with that. Blair P9 with her faces rounding off the top 10. Koru and Lifebout unable to finish the race by themselves, had to rely on AI, so won't be scoring any points, I don't believe. Rick and Tier, unfortunately, were early DNFs and did not see the checkered flag, and Tier causing a very deserved VSC. That was a huge crash for him. Rick as well, just getting it all sorts of squirrely out of turn 9 into 10. Just lost the rear end a little bit, and around he went. That was an unfortunate mistake for the Dutchman, because he did show some pace, some promise. But yeah, it was a great race for the top 4. All of them should give themselves a pat on the back, but I did just want to see someone go for that a little bit more, use a little bit more ERS, try and close the gap, try and go for it a little bit. I understand why not, and it was very much single file for the entire thing, but yeah, any mistake could have been costly. It was pressure on for all 4 of them, and that is the only race we're going to have tonight because of the super sprint format, because of the the Mexican Grand Prix. So we only get one race with it, along with a short qualifying. And yeah, Jackalacco is certainly going to be happy with that. He also leads the sprint championship after Mitch and James's absence. He's going to be happy with that one. In fact, actually, is he going to be leading the championship? I think MX might be. Let's have a little look. No, he won't be. Yeah, MX will be leading the championship. Jackalacco will be second though. Ghost will be up there. I think Palfs will also jump. How many did he score? 15. He'll be level with Mitch. So yeah, very close standings. Anyone's game for the final few rounds. How many rounds have we got left? Let me take a quick gander. We've just done... Where are we? There we are. So we've got a two-week break. No race on the 14th, no race on the 21st. Then we're back on the 28th for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Then a week break, then Imola and Canada to round off the season. Imola, Monza, Canada and Spa to round off the season, I should say. The season ends on the 19th of December. Then I'll see you in 2 weeks. This has been APPF1, the Sprint Championship. Round number 3 for the Portuguese Grand Prix. Have a great rest of your evening. Enjoy the Mexican Grand Prix. It's bound to be a good one, I'm sure, with the 2 Red Bulls going to try and go after the 2 Mercedes. Until next time, guys, I've been Zach Sweeney, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.